Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2022. Hi. So excited to be back with you all. Welcome to another Money Monday, Monday Motivation. We are on live. Today, we're going to be talking about money personalities. I wanted to dive into money personalities. So, all in December, all throughout the month of December, I did 25 videos that was all about organizing your life, right? We were talking about how to organize your life, how to get everything kind of set up for 2022. And the next thing that I really wanted to dive into is how to help you organize your money for the new year, right? So now that you've set up your planner, you kind of have a system hopefully set up for all of your life categories. Now we're going to kind of get into your money, organizing your money, your budget, how to set everything up for 2022. So, thank you so much for joining me. Once again, if this is your very first time, make sure that you find the chat box. Let me know your name and where you are from. Also, if you are watching the replay, do the exact same thing in the chat box or in the comments. I would love to still know where everyone is joining me from. So, we are going to be diving into what is your money personality. If you've never heard of me talk about money personalities before, it is the way that you were born. There are 5 money personalities, and we are innately designed a certain way. When we were born, we have a natural way of kind of doing things. It's the same thing if you're an introvert or an extrovert. You just have certain tendencies. Well, we have the exact same thing when it comes down to our money, but no one ever really talks about it. So then that's when we just decide, oh, I'm bad with money, or I'm good with money, or whatever the case may be. But that's not always the case. A lot of times it just has to do with our personality, how we was born, and how we can make adjustments or just notice things about ourselves that will help us to do better. So if this is your very first time on and you are on live, please remember that I will take all of the questions at the end of the presentation. This just helps for anybody who is watching on for the replay. I am going to wait to the end, and then we're going to dive into all of your questions. So please hold them until then. And let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm going to bring up my slides. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, we're talking about money personalities, and I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller here to make sure that you really can see these slides. So we're talking about your money personality. You all know who I am. If you don't, hi, I'm Elena. This is the Organized Money. I talk about planning, budgeting, and organizing your life, work, and your money. So, most people have heard of the 5 love languages, right? We've all heard of the 5 love languages. This is based on the book by Gary Chapman. And these love languages really tell you how you would like to interact with a person when it comes down to your relationships. So, this really will tell you how you like to be loved, right? Words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time, physical touch. If you've never read the book, you definitely should. It's a great indication of just knowing what type of person you are and how you like to be in a relationship. Now, knowing this helps you to communicate with your partner. It helps you to realize who you are when it comes down to your relationship. It just really helps you overall. But most people don't realize, though, is that we are the exact same way when it comes down to our money. There are people who hate spending money. They do not like to spend money. They like to keep it within their savings account. They have a physical pain whenever they have to spend money and they don't feel like they should have to spend it. And then there are other people who love to spend money, right? They're the ones that's in the mall, they shopping it up. YOLO, they love to spend money and they love to even think about and write down their next purchase. They get pure enjoyment from spending their money. And then there are people who don't even think about money at all. It doesn't cross their mind. They spend it when they need to, they save it sometimes, but really and truly it has no motivation in their life. They don't make decisions based off of their money. We all know people who fall under all three of these categories, right? You know people who love spending money, you know people who hate spending their own money, and you know people who don't even think about money, right? They don't even think about it at all. So everyone has that like cheap friend that never likes to pay for anything. They're rationing everything out. They want to go to dinner, but they are counting down who ate what and writing it down to the penny. Or you also have the friend that may be a shopaholic that loves to buy up the mall, that loves to spend money and loves to go shopping and want you to go shopping every time that they go shopping, right? We all have friends who like to do this. And usually, when it comes down to it, to our money, we will make really big assumptions. So I have had so many clients who have said, you know what, I'm just really bad with money. I'm not good with it at all. Or you'll have somebody say, I just don't make enough of it. I'm just really bad. I don't make enough. I make really poor decisions. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm awful, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, just like you have a love language, like I said, you have a money personality. And when we don't know our own personalities, when we don't know our own language, just like when we don't know our own love language, it hurts your overall relationships. When you don't know your money personality, it hurts your relationship with your money. It really does. If you can't recognize your own personality and recognize the triggers that may cause you to do certain things or spend money the way that you are spending it, then that will cause you to do something that you don't even realize that you're doing because you can't recognize it because you don't know your own personality. So, in order to build a good, solid money system, you need to know who you are. So, just like we talk about, when you want to know your love language so that you can be a better spouse or a better, mom or a better wife, whatever the case may be, you have to know this about yourself. The same thing with your money. You have to know who you are in order to make better decisions. That's the only way that it's going to work. If you don't realize why you're doing the things that you're doing, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to change. It's hard to change what you can't see. Unless I see it, then I am able to change it. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today. Now, before we get into it, because I already can see these comments that's coming in that's saying, I'm bad with money, I'm a horrible spender, I make horrible decisions. I see it. But let me tell you, before we even get started, so that you can give yourself a lot of grace when we get started, there is no such thing as a bad money personality. There's no right, there's no wrong. You are who you are. You're just born the way that you were born. So I'm going to go through all of these. And I know that, you may wish you were one or wish you were the other, but just so you know, there are pros and cons to every single one of these. And we need all of them. All of them benefit us as a whole. So there is no such thing as the perfect money personality. There's no such thing as a good one. There's no such thing as the bad one. You just are who you are. It's just like introverts and extroverts. It's just as soon as you're born, this is just the tendencies that you have, right? So each one of these money personalities that we're going to talk about can make really good financial decisions, and each one of them has the potential to get you in financial trouble. So we're going to talk about the pros and the cons today of each one of these. The good thing about discovering your money personality is not to discover your flaws, we've already talked about, but to understand just the way that you are, the way that you think, and the way that you deal with money. Just like just like you have a primary and a secondary love language, though, you also have a primary and a secondary money personality. And we're going to talk about that as well. So I want you to take some notes, get out a notebook, see which one of these fit your own personality. Now, I will tell you this, if you are a part of the Organize You, if you are within my monthly membership, you are going to get these slides emailed to you after this presentation. So just so that you know that if you're a part of Organize You, you can still take notes, but just know that I'm going to be sending you these slides as well. If you're not a part of Organize You, please, please, please pull out your notebook, take some notes, because I want you to really think about these different ones and see which one fits you, because it's going to really help you throughout this year. Very first one, saver. This is the one that I believe everybody wishes that they were. Not everybody is. But like I said, there are pros and cons to each one of these. So we will get into it. The saver is the person who loves to save money. You love to save money. It is your ministry, saving money. You just love to keep it in your bank account. So let's go into the characteristics of the saver. You get a genuine rush from saving money. You love to save it. You are organized, you are responsible, you are trustworthy, and you understand the cost of ownership. So when we think about the cost of ownership is basically you are thinking about the follow-up purchases that come with your original purchase. Meaning that if you purchase a printer, you're going to be thinking about, as soon as you're about to buy the printer, you're going to be thinking about, what's the cost of the ink for this printer? Like how much is it to fix this printer? You think about the additional costs that could come down the line from your original purchase. So when you're buying a car, you're saying, what's the average maintenance cost on this car? How much does it cost to get an oil change? How much are the tires? You're thinking about all of the other additional costs when you're making the first purchase, and that may change your mind on if you're going to do the first purchase. That is the characteristics of a saver. That is the characteristic of a saver, right? Now, that sounds great, but what are the cons? There are some cons to being a saver, because my secondary money personality is actually a saver. And one of the things that you can fall into is you can have a resistance to spending money, which can make you seem like you're no fun, right? If you're always thinking about, oh, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money. Well, now you're just not living life. You're just not having fun at all. You're always thinking about saving money, and you're losing out on so many experiences because you're just so focused on the money, right? You're overly focused on financial goals. It's all about the goals. If we're not achieving any goals, we're not doing anything, right? So you are constantly thinking about goals, and it can be challenging for you to just enjoy life. Like I said, we have one life. You can't take it with you. Once we're gone, we're gone. And if you spend your entire life just trying to save it, then what happens is just sitting in the bank account doing nothing, and you're not enjoying it at all. So it can be really challenging for you to just enjoy life, just to have fun, just to actually spend anything, because you're so worried about your goals and you're so worried about the money that's just sitting in the bank account and you don't want to spend. So those are cons that come along with being a saver. So even though there are some good things, there are some bad things that come along with that. So, how can you help that? Let me give you some tips if you are a saver. If you are a saver, put it in the chat box right now. Let me know, or put it in the comments. Let me know. Are you a saver? Put saver in here just so I can see how many of you are there. Like I said, it's my secondary one. We're going to get to my primary money personality, but this is my secondary one. I fall under this one every now and then, and my husband has to snap me out of it from time to time if I fall into just not enjoying or not experiencing life because I'm just trying to get so focused on our goals that I'm not having any fun. So let me give you some tips. I see that there are a couple of you over here. Saver is your secondary. Let's get into, and I know that we haven't gone through all of them. I talk about money personalities like every year. So for some people who are already responding, they may already have heard me talk about them. But if you've never heard of it, you may want to wait until I finish all five, and then you can really know if this is your money personality. So let's talk about some tips for a saver. Don't save too much money. There definitely needs to be a balance between financial security and enjoying life. So I like to give savers a number that they can achieve for their savings goals. So for us, it's a year worth of savings. Like once we hit a year, then we'll start investing. We'll definitely enjoy our money. But one thing about savers is a lot of times we get so focused on just saving that we'll just keep saving. And with inflation, many times it is not beneficial for us to just keep that money in a bank account. So don't save too much. You definitely want to pinpoint what's my ultimate goal? How much do I want to save? And then from that point on, then I will just invest or I'll do other things. I'll have other fun things that I'll put aside for my money. Assign categories to your savings. Don't just save to save. This was super helpful for me. I used to save just to save. Like I just wanted to have money just sitting in the bank account. But it doesn't really benefit you if it's just sitting there and it's not really doing anything. So assign categories to it. This is for vacation. This is for emergency fund. This is for house maintenance. This is for car maintenance. Having those categories will help you to be a little bit more realistic. It will help you to not get overly caught up on just saving to save because you'll have a definite number that you're trying to reach. You'll have your goal in mind. All right. Second one, spender, the person who loves to spend money. So this is the person that really loves to spend their money. They have so much fun at the mall. They don't care how much they spend or who they spend it on. It doesn't have to be on themselves. Sometimes they just love to buy things for other people. They just saw something, it was on sale, they had to have it. It's just a great price. Now, they don't even have it in their size. They will buy it for someone else just because it's on sale. I have to get it, right? Spenders get a lot of joy out of giving gifts. They love to give gifts. They love to help people. They love treating other people, and they get a thrill from the purchase. They love spending money. And here's the thing with most spenders, it doesn't even matter where they're shopping. So they could be at Saks or they could be at the thrift store. They could be at Louis Vuitton. They could be literally at Walmart. It doesn't matter. They get pure joy from just the shopping experience. So that is something that they just love to do. Now, here are their cons. Most of the times they're impractical. They may not wait for a sale. If they are in the store and they're just having fun, they'll just spend money. They just gonna spend it to spend it. They aren't really thinking about if they have it or it's because it's the joy of the spending. Usually they don't communicate well. Like they are big budget breakers. So they will set a beautiful budget. That budget looks real nice on paper, but it's really difficult to stick to because once they get in the mall, once they start shopping, once they get out and about, they just love to spend money and it's fun for them. So they really do need balance. They really more than likely will need balance. But knowing that you operate under the purchaser like the money personality of a spender. This can help you really understand your triggers, and it will help you to plan a little bit better. So if you do identify as a spender, then what you will need to do is dive deeper to identify your triggers, because every spender has triggers, meaning there is something that you do that you'll know, okay, when I do, I can't do that. I can't do that activity. I can't go window shopping, because if I go window shopping, I'm going to spend money. So I need to stay away from the mall altogether, right? Because it's a trigger. And knowing your triggers can help you to plan a little bit better, and it will help you to be better with your money overall. So let's get into some tips for spenders. One, you want to set a spending limit per day. So if you decide, okay, how much am I going to spend every single day? What's my miscellaneous? One of the best things that you could do is say, I'm not spending any more than $50 a day, or I'm not spending any more than $25 a day. Take it out in cash, or put it aside, or put it in your spending account, your debit account, and you only have that amount per day. You're keeping track of it. Set a 24-hour spending rule, right, for impulsive purchases. So if it's not in the budget, it's not something that you decided that you were going to spend on, you could put it in that Amazon cart. Not saying that you can't, but you got to wait a day. Wait 24 hours before you purchase the cart, because what this will do is help that impulsive shopping to die down, and then you'll realize you didn't even go back for it. You didn't even really want it. Give yourself a little bit more time to think on it, so that it's not as impulsive, that it's something that you have to do now. And set a limit for dining out or online shopping. Me and my husband do this on a consistent basis. I set $100 limit on our Amazon purchases, because Amazon is where I'm going to do a majority of my shopping. But I will set $100 limit every 2 weeks. So what I'll do is I'm adding stuff to the cart. But I don't purchase the cart until the every other Friday. So every other Friday, I'll purchase the cart. We'll see what's in there, and then I can evaluate. Because half the time I'll be like, oh, I don't need that anymore, or I could save that one for later. Let's see what else we have in here. I'm only spending $100. I buy it, and then everything that's in there saved later, it can be moved to the very next time that I'm actually going to do it. So those are ways that it can help you if you are a spender. That Amazon cart will get you every time, won't it? It'll get you every time. All right, let's go. Security seeker, third one. These are, now we're starting to get into some additional ones that you may not be familiar with. I think everyone knows saver and spender, but let's go into the security seeker. Security seeker is my top one. This is the person who needs a plan. I need a plan. For all of us planners out there, you may need a plan. Let's go. The characteristics of a security seeker: you're an investigator. You love to do the research. You're trustworthy, you're willing to sacrifice, and you are prepared for anything. So these are people who don't mind spending money. You don't mind spending the money, but you got to research it first. I need to look into it first. I need to make sure that I'm spending my money correctly, that it works for me, that I feel good with my purchase. So you really love to do the research and really love to look into it. However, you can be negative when it comes down to certain purchases, right? Like, so you could, someone could say, oh, we could do this, or we could spend our money this way. But if you haven't done the research, if you haven't looked into it, if you don't know exactly how it's going to all work out, if you don't see the vision, you don't see the plan, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. So you can be negative if there is no plan involved. You could feel as though it's not going to work out. You need to scrutinize every single line item. If it don't work, then you're going to feel like it's not going to work at all. Sometimes you can get in a research rut. And I know this has happened to me from time to time where I am like researching. I did this with my car. I started researching on different cars and I was just looking, and never. I needed a car, but I wasn't moving on it. I just kept researching and researching and researching until my husband was like, okay, we got to make a decision. But a lot of times we can get in a research rut looking for the best deal that's out there, even though you have a really great deal that's in front of you. And it's just because you just want to find an even better deal. What if it's even better, right? And so that is a con of a security seeker, is that a lot of times we can get in a research rut. The third thing is you can stifle creativity because you always want to plan and you always want to analyze and you always want to research and you want to have all your ducks in a row and everything has to line up. You do not fly by the seat of your pants. You do not want to hurry up and let's just go take a weekend vacation. The security seeker is going to be like, no, we did not plan for this. Where are we going? We don't have like the money set aside. We don't have this. We don't have that. No, I'm not going. And sometimes we can miss out on just the fun of just being up and spontaneous. We're not going to be spontaneous. We want to have it all planned out, have all of our ducks in a row, and see it all flow in an evenly nice plan. So, if you are a security seeker, you definitely have to watch out for this. It's not saying that it's bad all the time, but a lot of times you can stifle creativity. You can stifle surprises. I know at one point in time, my husband had a hard time surprising me because I was planning to look at the budget, every single penny, every moment, and he couldn't surprise me because I was always looking at everything. So I had to like kind of give him, a little bit of leeway, like, okay, don't like a little bit more freedom so that you can do a little bit more and still be able to live life and have some fun. But if you like to research your purchases, definitely research, but just make sure you're not procrastinating in the process where you're just diving into that so much that you are not um like you're not coming up for air. Let's give you some tips for the security seeker. Work on looking at money as a tool. One thing that security seekers, a lot of us can do is we won't look at money as replenishable, meaning that if I lose my money, I feel like I can't get it back. Like that's it. It's gone forever and I've lost this money and that's it and it's gone. The main thing that you have to realize here is that money is a tool. It's a resource. You can lose it, but you can get it back. It comes back in cycles. It is replenishable. It is something that flows into you and it flows back to you. And once you start seeing it that way, then it will be less difficult for you to spend money. You'll be able to spend it a little bit more freely because you know it is always coming back to you and you don't have to be stuck in your mind thinking that it won't come back. Find ways to release your fear. So you want to talk to people, you want to connect with other people, you want to find ways to talk about those money fears that you have, especially if you have a fear of letting go of money or you have a fear that you're not going to have money, then you could actually end up speaking that into your life. So you want to find ways to make sure you're releasing that fear. And you want to speak positive. Speak positive around your money conversations. So don't always talk about what you don't have. Think about what you do. Think about the things that have come into your life. Think about how you have been able to spend your money and how the things you have been able to replenish and how you do have shelter and how everyone is taken care of. You're able to eat. There's so many positive things that have happened around your money. So don't constantly talk about what you can't do with it. Talk about what you can. Speak nicely about your money so that you are attracting more of it. Because when you live in fear around it, all you're going to be doing is attracting more fear. So you definitely got to watch those conversations to make sure that you're not limiting the money that is around you. The next one, fourth, the fourth money personality is the risk taker. I hope y'all are really seeing yourself in one of these. So we'll get into the risk taker. The risk taker is the person who loves to take chances. You love a good chance. These are probably going to be more than likely like you like to gamble, you like a good bet, you like to see how you can invest and double your money. And I want to put my money in on a property or do something because I want it to grow. You are more likely the person who take the risk. I want to take the risk to see if I can double down and make more money. You are a big picture person. So you love to see the vision. You love to see the big picture. You see the apartment complex that you're going to own, right? You love to see the big idea of the different things that you're going to be able to do with your money. You love finding your next adventure, right? So you love seeing what is the next adventure that I can take when it comes down to my money. You get excited by possibility. You're so excited about the different things that you're going to be able to do. You get excited by the thought of your money doubling or being able to make more of it off of one investment or another. You're really good at listening to your gut. So you are the person that you likes to listen to ideas, and if you get a really good feeling about something, you are all in. You want to jump in. You want to see how we can make this happen because you're really good at listening to your gut. And you aren't afraid to make decisions. So, like we were talking about with the security seeker who usually will not like to make we get in that research rut where we're constantly thinking, not you, you're all in, you ready to go, let's do this, right? And you aren't really afraid to make decisions, you're all for it, you're so on board. So you definitely have to think about it, like, are you the type of person that like to take investments? Are you like to do investing in certain big things? If so, then this definitely could be you. Of course, there are some cons that come with being a risk taker. Because you're a risk taker, you are blinded by possibility. This means that you usually aren't thinking about the opposite side of this. Like, what if it doesn't work, right? Like, what if it doesn't happen? So you're constantly thinking about the good that sometimes you don't even consider what if it doesn't work out. And that could really blind you altogether from making a good decision. You make fast decisions, not all the time it may be a good one. All right. You could become easily resented because a lot of times risk takers aren't understanding or aren't they don't communicate with their spouse well. When they get in their idea of something that they really, really want to do, they are all in it. They jump in. If something happens and it doesn't work out, they can become easily resented by their spouse or by their family. Or if they lose money that is for someone else, they can become easily resented by that person as well. So that can definitely be a con of being a risk taker. You can become very impatient because you can always see the vision and you are a big picture person and you ready to jump in and you're ready to get on board. Everyone else isn't like you. So if you're married to someone who is a saver and they don't want to do the risk that you want to take, then you can see how that can become a really big argument, right? Because you could get impatient with them. They could feel like you're not really thinking things through, and it just really could cause everything to come to a head. And you can seem like you are insensitive because when risk takers see the very big picture, they see the big picture, they're ready to jump in, they're ready to do all of these great things. but they don't really take into account anyone else's feelings, and they can become very, very insensitive. So they can feel like you just don't see it, right? But a lot of times the other money personalities are just more cautious and thinking things through. Unless it's a spender, spender might be all on board, but everyone else is probably going to be way more cautious, thinking things through, and the risk taker could come off as insensitive to them. Right? So let's talk about some tips. If you are a risk taker, set some money aside for your risk. Not saying that you can't take risks at all, because this is your money personality and you love to do it, but you should set some money aside and set a budget for your risk, so that you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket, right? So we don't put everything in one spot, and then if it doesn't work, we've lost it all. But if you try and do a little bit and it does work out, then you could always do more. So that is a better way of looking at it than trying to put everything into one. And remember, your goal is to be balanced. So when you are a risk taker, and you definitely want to look at everything and not just try and look at one goal, one possibility, one thing that you could do, and completely focus in on that one thing. I know a lot of risk takers that are really into investing, and they want to put all their money into this one thing and just hope and pray that it works out. But a lot of times it just works out better if you look at it and be a little bit more balanced and look, just think about it. You have a long way to go. You have time to do it all. Let's talk about the fifth one. So this is our last one. So once we get through this one, I want you to tell me in the chat box, which one are you? Put it in the comments. Let me know which one are you. The fifth money personality is the flyer. So the flyer is the person who is not moved by money at all. Money does not cause them to make a decision at all. They are not moved by it. They don't think about money when they are getting their job. They don't think about money when they are going about their daily. They barely even check their bank account throughout the course of their day. Money does not motivate or move them. They are very content. They're usually very content with life because they don't base their happiness on money, which means that they could be living check to check. They could not be living check to check and have a very, very comfortable life. They are very big on their relationships. So they value friendships, they value their family. That is where all of their money is coming from. But they are not worried about their overall money and how it's going to fit within their relationships. They're focused in on their relationships. They're happy to let someone else take on the finances. They're very, very happy to let someone else take on their finances, meaning that if their spouse takes it, sounds good to them. My husband is a flyer. My husband is definitely a flyer. He does not care at all about like I'm the security seeker slash saver. So I'm like, oh, this is the plan, babe. We can do this and we can do that. And he's just like, oh, okay, sounds good. He just doesn't, he's not motivated. He will like, they're big on their relationships, they're big on their family, they're big on their, whatever's going on here, but they aren't motivated by money. They don't make decisions. If you could offer a flyer $1 million to do a particular job, if they don't love that job, they're not going to do it. They don't care because money does not motivate them at all. So, of course, that can come with some cons, because if you are a flyer, you're usually reactionary, meaning that you aren't planning anything out. You're just kind of going back with the flow. And then if a money problem comes up, then you handle it. But by then, you have to like really take it on and really try and figure it out and really handle it. but you aren't thinking about it ahead of time. You're usually very disorganized, meaning that you don't have things in order because you don't care about it. You're not worried about it. And you're unresponsible, not irresponsible. So, irresponsible is meaning that you don't really care about this, but unresponsible, it means that you aren't really ever thinking about it. So, you do not even it's not something that you are really worried about at all. So now you have to respond after the fact, right? So that is the kinds of a flyer. Of course, the tips for these flyers is that you have to automate your savings. You have to automate your savings. You have to automate your bills. You have to spend a little bit of time every single time you get paid to make sure that you're staying on top of your money. But automation is the best way to do this. Automation is the best way to do this. You want to make sure that you're automating a lot of your stuff because you are not because you're not going to be the person that's going to spend a lot of time with your money on a consistent basis because you don't really care that much. So, like I said, I we went through all five of them, but like I said before, you could have a primary one and a secondary one. This is what causes buyer's remorse. So if you've ever had, let's say you go to a store, right? And when you're in that store, you're just so excited to go in and spend money and do all, and you're just having so much fun in this store and you're picking up all the different things and you are buying all the things and you're loving it, right? So while you're in the store, you are a spender. And then you buy all the stuff. And then you get to the parking lot and you instantly feel bad. Like you instantly feel like, I didn't need all of this stuff. Why did I even buy this? I don't even want this stuff. That buyer's remorse is because your saver personality has kicked in. And once your saver personality has kicked in, it's instantly reminding you of all of the money that you spent and all the money that you didn't really have to spend. So, having a primary and a secondary is definitely the case. So, like I said, my primary one is a security seeker. So primarily, I am constantly thinking of the plan. I'm thinking of how I'm going to research this, how I'm going to save it. And then my secondary is mainly a saver as well. So with my saver personality, I am trying to save it all. I don't want to pay down debt. I just want to save it. Just see it all in the bank, right? So knowing what's your primary and knowing what is your secondary. So if you're a part of my mailing list, if you're a part of my mailing list, you're going to get this bingo saving chart if you have signed up. This bingo savings chart is something that I send out that helps you with savers. So if you are a spender, then the best thing that you can do is make a game out of it and save a little bit every single week. And this bingo savings chart is the way to do it. So there are 52 numbers on here, and you can highlight each one every single week, and then you can save a little bit of money. So that is the way that I like to do that. So let me come off. I want to ask y'all some questions. Or answer some questions that you may have. What is your money personality? Put it in the chat box. Ask a question. If you have any questions, let's see. Is there a type who regrets saving versus debt reduction? So if you regret spending it on debt reduction, more than likely you are a saver. More than likely you are a saver, because if you have any type of regrets on how you, even if it's reducing debt and you regret reducing debt, then more than likely it's because your primary is a saver. And with savers, you don't like to spend money no matter what it is. Like, I want to keep it in my bank account. If I don't care if spending it is actually helping me, like, oh, if I spend the money, then I'm in less debt. And now that I'm in less debt, I can, save more money long down. You don't care. You just want to save it. You really just want to save it. So just remember that if you are, think about your goals. Think about your overall goals. Like if you are a saver and you are regretting paying down debt, then think about, okay, why am I regretting paying this down? Because this is a goal that's ultimately going to help me as well. I'm going to have more money down the line. I'm going to be able to save for this, this, and this. Write those goals down, write down the different things that you're saving for. And that will help you when it comes down to um, your ultimate feeling of not saving enough. Because I realized that I always had this feeling of not saving enough because I didn't have a goal for my savings. I didn't have a specific number of how much money we were going to save. I just wanted to save. So since I didn't have a specific number in mind, then I would always just want to save just because it was there. And just because the money was there, I just wanted to save it. But once I set number goals, then it became easier to not save it and to spend it on other things because I already had set goals for the vacation or for house maintenance or for car maintenance. Once we actually had goals, then it became easier to not save it. So, this question, how can I transition from a spender, a flyer, to more of a saver? So, here's the thing, you can't really transition. You can't really, because, like we said, this is your personality. This is your money personality. So, more than likely, you are who you are. But what you can do is make it easier for that personality to save money. So, like I said, if you're a spender and you're a flyer, that's your personality. You're a spender and you're a flyer. But what can you do? When we talked about the flyer, one thing that you can do is automate your savings. You want to make it so easy for you to save money. You want to set it on automation. You want to have it automatically coming out your bank account. You want to have it move before you even like realize that it's there, so that you don't automatically get into your spender slash flyer mindset before it's saved. So it becomes easier for you to save money when you make it easier for your personality to do it. So if you know, look, I'm a spender, I'm a flyer, I don't really care about money like that, but automatically every single Friday, my as soon as my check hits my account, it automatically transfers $200 into my savings account. That's the best thing that you can do. That's the best thing that you can do. So then that way you don't have to try and change your entire personality. You just can automatically keep budgeting the way that you're budgeting and just put everything else on automation so that you don't have to try and change who you are. What are some affirmations we can use when you have a scarcity mentality or we keep thinking we're broke when we really are not? The best thing that you can do whenever you have this type of mentality is it is to start to educate yourself on that thing that you fear the most. So one of the things about fear is usually it is based in our own ignorance of what we don't know. And a lot of times we have a scarcity mentality is because we don't realize how money works. We don't realize how money can easily come back into our life. We don't realize how we can make it. We don't realize, how we could save it. And so the best things that you can do is to spend more time with it. The more time you spend looking at your bank accounts, looking at your expense trackers, looking at your budget, reading about it, looking at YouTube videos, watching as much as you possibly can, the less you will start to feel scarcity mentality. Even if you're looking at ways to make it, it helps you because a lot of times you will start thinking, oh, there's no way that I can make more money. And then you come across a video that's like 10 ways to make $1,000 in a week, right? And watching those types of things or reading those types of books are constantly affirming that you can make more money. What it does for you is it helps you get out of that mindset, and it starts showing you different options of how you can do more with your money. I know a lot of times, before I was on, like, really on YouTube and really like doing videos, I used to always think, how can people make so much money from YouTube? Like, I never thought making money from YouTube was really a thing. Like, and I'm like, how are they doing this? Right. Until I started looking up how they were doing it. And then the more I looked it up, the easier it became in my mind. Like, the easier, I'm like, oh, okay, wait, this doesn't seem as hard as when I first started looking it up, or when I first started thinking about it. It seemed so difficult until I just started doing more and more and being around more people who were doing it and talking to other YouTubers and asking questions and surrounding myself with people who were making a bunch of money doing it. And then it became like a little bit easier to do it. So when it comes down to our scarcity mentality, a lot of times it's because we just don't know. We don't get it. We don't know. We fear the unknown, and we start to kind of cast and put down things that we don't know. We're like, oh, that can't be true. That can't be right because I don't understand it. So since I don't understand it, it can't be accurate. And it's just not true. A lot of times it is very accurate, or it is something that you can do. You just don't know how to do it. And so the best thing that you can do, this is why I have a section in my planner that is completely dedicated to me reading and learning, because the more I read, the more I learn, the more I open my mind to these different things, the better I get at all of the things that I want to do. So, best thing that you can do is read more, watch more, listen to podcasts, do all of the things that will help you to start not looking at money, like I said, looking at it as a resource. I started my money journey in 2012. 2012. And when I started that journey, I promise you, I definitely did. I had a scarcity mindset to the 10th degree. I did not think that I could make more, do more. I was just like, how can I not spend any money? I was constantly thinking about not spending. I was just always putting myself down, thinking that, I just couldn't do it. And now I've just gotten better with letting it go to a place to where I'm like, oh, I can do this. This is not that bad. And it's all because of how much I'm learning. It's all because how much I'm learning. All right. If you have a question, please put the hashtag Q. It will make it much, much easier for me to see it. I'm a new business owner, Online Apron Boutique. Congrats. Awesome. How do I set savings goals when I must buy inventory and pay your admin? I would love to see you do this in percentages. One of the best things that you can do, especially when you're an online or a business owner completely, is because we don't know how much money we're going to make, myself included. I never know exactly how much money I'm going to make because it just depends. It depends on how many orders I get. It depends on membership. It just depends on a bunch of different things. Instead of setting set amounts, which your admin may be a set amount, some of them are set amounts, but for my savings goals and for after you buy inventory, after you do this, I like to do percentages. I like to do percentages. So 10% of everything that I make is going automatically into savings. So instead of me saying, because I don't know how much I'm going to make, when I get paid, I will pay the automated things that I need to do. I will do my supplies. I will pay off my business credit card. I will pay my staff. And then I say, okay, what do I have left? 10% of that automatically goes into savings. and then I will kind of go from there. But when you're trying to, and I will even do, because I do 10% for emergency savings, 10% for investing back into myself. So if I'm doing memberships, or I'm doing a class, or I want to purchase other things that's just going to help me get better and teach better, then I will do that as well, as long as, and also like getting books and reading other things, like all the stuff we were talking about before, right? So I usually will take everything else based on a percentage. So that helps me not have to have a set amount that I'm doing every single time. So pay off all the automated stuff, the stuff that has a set price, and then do everything else based on a percentage. 10% is my go-to number. I like to do 10% for emergency savings for my business, 10% for investing back into myself, 10% for new equipment and other things like that. That's the best way that I do it. All right. I do struggle with managing my time. All my kids are at home all day. One, three, four, six. It's hard to get any time to work on anything that is in housework or childcare education. You are in a very, very challenging season. And I'm going to say this because I feel like we don't give ourselves a lot of grace. And I have talked about grace a lot on here, because when you have a 1 year old, a 3 year old, a 4 year old, and a 6 year old, whoa, right? Like the 1 year old alone is going to require so much of your time. I do a lot right now. And I know, a lot of times people are like, oh my God, you do so much. How do you do this? How you do that? Yeah, my kids are 7 and 9. And yes, they need me, but not like when they were 1 and 3. It is completely different from when they were 1 and 3. So I definitely want you to give yourself some grace. I want you to give yourself some time. You may not get a lot of time to do a lot of different things, but if you can set aside 20 minutes a day and read something new or spend some self-care time, then you can try and do that. But setting aside 3 4 5 hours to work on something that's just for you, it's probably not going to happen in this particular season. But that's okay, because this season is not going to last forever. It is a short period of time that I blinked and my children weren't toddlers anymore. I remember saying in a video one time that I was like, my toddlers, and my somebody in the comments was like, oh, how old are your babies? And I was like, 6. Wait, she's not a toddler. But it's like, in my mind, they're still that small. So definitely, give yourself a lot of grace, a lot of grace. There are times, I talk about this when I talk about our balance. We're trying to balance everything, but there are times in life when you cannot balance it all, because one area of your life is just going to require more time than another. When I was doing Vlogmas and I was doing 25 days of Vlogmas, I didn't work out. Like I couldn't really work. I worked out like once or twice during Vlogmas. And it was because it was an entire month that I was doing 25 videos, and it was every single day. And there was just no way that I was going to do that and work out. So I could be hard on myself and say, oh my God, I didn't work out. How horrible am I? I'm not working out. Or I could give myself some grace and say, you know what, girl, you just killed it on these 25 videos. Kudos to you, because you did that, and we'll work out later. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about grace. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about grace. Pat yourself on the back for the things that you are doing, because with a 1 year old, a 3 year old, a 4 year old, and a 6 year old, you should be patting yourself on the back every single day, anytime you do any type of housework or child care education. And if you can get to something else, wonderful. But if you can't, it is definitely okay in this particular season. It it's okay, because right now you may not be able to do all of it. And if you get extra time, then that's great. Let's do it. But if not, it's definitely okay. All right. My fiance and I are starting our money journey together. It feels overwhelming. We're in a new season of life, a new business. How do we come together with our different money personalities? So, different money personalities takes some time as well. So, I told you guys that me and my husband are two different money personalities. My husband was a flyer and I was a security seeker. I am a security seeker. He is still a flyer. When we first started our money journey, I promise you, I used to think that he just didn't care. So we would have money conversations, and like I said, my husband is very like nonchalant. So he I would be like, "Okay, this is our vision for the future for our money and how we're going to grow as a family." And I would lay out this big long PowerPoint presentation of how we were going to move from one point to another and be able to do all of these amazing things, and he would be like, "Oh, okay. Sounds good to me." And I used to get so upset. I used to get so upset because I felt like you don't care about our family. You don't care about the money. You don't care about our security. You don't care. You need to care. And it wasn't that he didn't care. It wasn't that at all. It was that wasn't his primary concern. His primary concern was our family was safe, everyone was healthy, everyone was happy. Looks good to me. Right? And so I think that when it comes down to it, we have to first understand our money personalities and our spouse's money personalities. I didn't get it until I realized that he was a flyer. Once I realized that he was a flyer and I started to study what flyers needed and he started to study what security seekers needed, we became so much better at this. It's the exact same thing with the love language. Like I said, once you know what type of love language your spouse needs, it just helps out so much. It helps out so much more when you are able to kind of get on the same wavelength. So the first thing that you need to do is to start learning each other money personality. And let me tell you this teaching that we just did is from a book. It is from a book called Money Personalities, and it was actually written by a couple. Let me see if I can find the book. Um, I'm about to find the book for you. I actually have it on my shelf, but it's in my living room. And it's called The Five Money Personalities. And it is by um, Scott and Bethany Palmer. Scott and Bethany Palmer. That's who wrote the book. And so if let me see if I can share my screen real quick so that y'all can see it. Um, I'm about to show you really, really quick. So this is the book. This is on Thrift Books. As you can see, it's like $4.69. If y'all wanted to catch that, I can put it in the chat box. Let me see if I can do that. If you wanted to like pick it up. But this book is it's on Amazon too, I believe. It is such a great book, and it is designed for couples. It is designed for couples, and it kind of helps you walk through this process of money personalities. And it talks about all five that we just talked about as well. And I love this book because it really did help me and my husband when we were trying to get on the same playing field when it came down to money. All right, so definitely try and check this one out. Let's see if I can take one more. How do I get my husband to understand that I need motivation to save money? He just wants to not spend money. That doesn't work for me well because, and I think that if you get this book, Roseanne, it will definitely help you as well. The Five Money Personalities, because they talk about the different scenarios. First of all, most opposites attract. They talk about that in there because with with opposites, we are usually you're not married to your money personality. You're not going to be married to the exact same one who um who has the exact same money personality as you. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be married to someone who has a different money personality than you, which means that you have to learn theirs. And usually it's on the opposite side of the spectrum. So when I say we are talking about two different sides of the spectrum, meaning security seekers and savers are pretty much the same type of person, right? You're on the same side because both of you basically like to save money. It's just different ways that you do it. Spenders and risk takers are kind of on the same side as well. But when you get a risk taker and a saver, that's usually when you're going to start seeing some fireworks. When you get a flyer and a security seeker, you're going to start to see some fireworks because we usually don't have the exact same money personality or even on the same spectrum as our spouse. Opposites attract, right? That's just how it works. So the best thing that you can do in this situation is to make sure that you are trying to learn each other as much as possible and learn about your money personality and your spouse's money personality. And reading this book, looking up different videos, trying to find out more about it. If you're a part of Organize You as well, I do have a test. Let's say you did this entire thing, you didn't understand which one was your money personality, you still don't know, then I'm going to send you, when I send you out the slides, Organize You members, when I send you out the slides, I'm also going to send you a test. It is a document, a worksheet where you can take a test and you can see which one fits you the best. And then this will help you really decide, okay, this is my money personality. You can get your spouse to take it. This is their money personality. And it also has some tips and some highlights of different things that you need to do. One thing that me and my husband would do as well, if this will help you, is talk about it at date night. So we would ask each other questions about how we grew up, and we're going to talk about money history, our money history in our next class. So that's going to be next Monday. Next Monday, our live session will be on your money history, which talks about the childhood home you grew up in and how that affects your money. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. But we would talk about all of this on our date night so that it didn't feel, keeping it light, it didn't feel so like heavy, like, okay, let's sit down, let's have a meeting, right? It just felt like, ooh, it's a meeting. But if we were just talking at date night, I'd be like, oh, why do you think like that? Or, how do you, what are your goals? And how would you like to spend money? What would you like to do? What's your ultimate goal? It became easier when we were just talking and asking each other questions instead of like scrutinizing each other or pointing the finger, or because once you realize you just are the way that you are and it's a part of your personality, then it becomes less of oh, this is your fault or this is my fault, or it's not that, because it's your personality. You can't help it. You are who you are. All right. So I am going to, oh, is it in Audible books? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think that this book is only an actual book. I've never seen it on Audible. Um, I wonder, you know what? Let me check. Let me check. I'm going to check right now and see. Um, Money personality. I don't think it is though. Oh, it is. It is. It is. I see it. It definitely is. Um, so if you have Audible, it's there. You can also check it out on Audible as well. So there you go. It is. So thank you all so much for joining me. And I will see you in next week's live class this Wednesday. So I have 2 YouTube videos coming out this week. On this Wednesday, we're going to be setting up my budget in my budget planner for the month of January. So if you have my budget planner and you want to see how I set it up for the month or how you can set up yours, check out Wednesday's video. It will come out the exact same time as this live, 4 p.m. Central. And then Friday's video is going to be on my planner setup. I'm just kind of refreshing you all and showing you how I have currently set up my planner. I think I did about 2 videos before on my planner setup, but I always tweak it and I always change it. But we are still in one big planner. I currently have 11 sections in there right now. So I'm just going to share that with you. And then next Monday, we are going to talk about your money history. I'm going to talk about the 4 money houses, and we're going to talk about which house you grew up in, because all of us more than likely grew up in one of these money houses, and talk about how that affected you and how it makes you look at money so that it can help you along with your money personality. Knowing your money history and your money personality really helps you to make some really solid decisions. So that's what we're going to talk about next Monday. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me. If you're a part of Organize You, be looking out for an email from me. An email from me. I will send out an email tomorrow that's going to, or probably later on today, that's going to send you the slides to this. And also, you're going to get your test, the document that helps you to figure out which one you are if you don't know which money personality you are. All right. Thank you all so much. And I will see you next week. Bye, guys.